Welcome, beloved brothers and sisters. As we have heard, we are not alone. There are Sufis everywhere. Not only those who call themselves wise, using the word Sufi, but there are many who have never heard about the Sufi message and who are indirectly open to this universal message of so many things. We all hear about love, harmony, and beauty. Do we always practice it in our daily life? Question mark. We all hear very often about unity of spiritual ideals. I know our master called it unity of spiritual, of religious ideals. There are many in the world who do believe in unity of religious ideals and of spiritual ideals, who have never heard about the message. And another great, tremendous call, spiritual liberty. Do we really know what it means? It doesn't mean chaos. It means the heart is flying upwards with the wings of freedom. And nobody can impose upon the heart to feel differently. Whatever you understand about what I've said. There is such a thing as guidance. There is the spiritual guidance. There is the guidance of our guide in the Sufi movement or in other organizations. But as long as the heart and the mind are not free to be themselves, there is no guidance. Obedience does not mean guidance. But spiritual liberty implies self-respect and respect for others. When one cannot respect others if one doesn't respect oneself. Why? We hear so often those words, my heart is the temple of God. Why am I saying all of this? Because, as we have just heard, the Federation has become a home for all those who have heard the call of the message. But the call of the message is indirectly heard more and more in our time, in cultural activities, in scientific activities, and in this great movement, as we've just heard, of coming together at the level of global understanding. That is the message. To try to come together, to understand each other better. We are not alone here celebrating this special day. As said, there are Sufis all over the world. But this special day is or has been celebrated yesterday in many parts of the world. And let's just put it this way. Visalat Day is, of course, the anniversary of the passing of the messenger. But it's not the end of the activity which the messenger brought to us. And let us never forget some of his last words. I am leaving the work in your hands. What does that mean? It means that each one of us who have heard the call have the great responsibility of doing whatever each of us can in their own way to help the message to spread. And that is what the Sufi movement is doing. That is what Ruhaniyat is doing. That is what the Sufi order is doing. That is what the Sufi contact is doing. And as we have heard, each one in their own way. And that is what is so beautiful. Because the message, being a universal message, attracts different types of people who have different interests, different understandings, different opinions, and different ways of motivating the activity which is called spirituality. One of those words which is so terribly difficult to define. What is spirituality? So as said, Visalat Day is not the end, it is the beginning. Or rather, no, I put it wrongly, it is a continuation. From the depth of my heart, and I think of the heart of everybody here, we thank you for having taken the trouble to come here, so that we can see each other and feel how strongly we belong to each other in the heart. Oh, we don't all agree to each other, of course not, it would be too monotonous. How wonderful that we don't agree on everything. But we do agree on one point. We are all trying to listen to that call of the message. And that is why, without realizing it, somehow we do love each other. Let me just read a few passages out of the biography where our master is really pouring out emotions out of his heart. And some of these passages are really surprising to hear. I had no religion, says our master. I had no religion. But I looked for something to revere to. It was my own mother, in whom I found pure, unselfish love, selfless service. Isn't that beautiful? Thus, I came to think that if there was anything to worship or to revere, it was motherhood. This is what our master is saying. If there was anything to worship, it is motherhood. Isn't that surprising to hear? It's in the biography. The year of my absence in Nepal developed that love in me and emotional nature. The separation from my mother made me value motherhood more and more. There's nothing in the world to compare with it other than the love for God. Isn't this an extraordinary passage? Where one feels the worship being born from the depth of the heart and not a dogma given to follow. This was a time during which the affections developed and emotions were nourished. The time also came to see that there were domestic responsibilities as well. The duties of a child towards mother and father. I began to think about what I should do for them, to serve them, to make them comfortable, to relieve them from their worries, anxieties, and difficulties. My mother passed away in the meanwhile. Again, I felt as if the world had become different. Life changed. It was like turning a page in the book of life. There was no one in the world to look up to anymore. Another passage. In the East, there is a custom to go once a year to visit the tombs and graves of great saints and sages. So in order to forget my great sorrow of that time, I went to visit the tomb of the great Sufi Haja Monuddin Chishti, the first great Sufi saint to come to India. Many mystics and fakirs, sages and philosophers go there in order to be helped and find peace which is experienced in those sacred places. After resting that night, the voice came to me at dawn, the voice of a fakir passing from street to street, calling all to come to the morning prayer. This sound touched me very deeply. I entered into profound meditation and I was carried away. Throughout the night, I sat till dawn with my feelings attached to heavenly things and to God, and closed my eyes in deepest meditation. At that time, I did not yet know what meditation or concentration was. So I just sat quiet and thought of the Creator, the Sustainer, the one who grants all desires. I will leave it to that.